Namaskar, friends. Welcome back. Today, we are going to start the second episode of our long awaited series on sodium ion batteries. And as you know, we have already discussed in the first episode about the general prospect of sodium ion battery. If you have not seen, we will be giving the link to that episode in the description as well as in the down below in this video link also. You can just visit that, and to have the appropriate continuity of the discussion, you can have a look at that video also. So today we are again fortunate to have Dr. Abhik Bhattacharya with us, who is our special guest for this series. And before we start, I just want to give you a backdrop as to what would be the points of discussion. Today we would go on this episode. We are going to focus more on the cathode, technology and the materials that are required for sodium ion batteries. So today's concept analysis would be more focused on technology and materials. So, Dr. Bhattacharya, welcome back, sir. It's
Thank you.
nice to,
And namaskar to all of my viewers.
and we are very happy that we are able to reconnect once again on this series. So, without much time being given on this introduction, everything, I would just, welcome you and just request you to take up the topic, which is more to focused on this materials and the technology that is required for sodium ion batteries. Sir, please.
Yes, thank you. I request our viewers to see our first YouTube this podcast on the sodium ion batteries, and we have discussed already the potential of the sodium ion batteries, and it is a promising alternative of the lithium ion batteries. But there are challenges because nothing is nothing is actually free for the challenges, and we require to understand today the challenges, and it will be little bit technical. I hope someone having a background of class 12 level, Mendeleev table, periodic table, etc. If one knows or recalls, they can correlate our discussion very well. And I try to make it as much lucid as possible. So, as we know, as we go by the atomic numbers, lithium ionic size of the sodium will be larger than the lithium, and thus there is a specific challenge for this reason to design these electrolytics and these cathode and anodes of these electrodes of these batteries. So first of all, mostly for the anode, we use the material that is the graphite. But graphite, as you know, has a lattice structures, as you can recall. For this reason, calcium gets deposited within the layers of the graphite, and that is called the intercalation. So, in a simple term, so that basically it's uh, uh, so it's due to the you might be recalling that polarization effect when we have discussed about the uh, zinc batteries. So we require to polarize the hydrogen, right, with some kind of hydrogen peroxide, etc. Oxidize it so that hydrogen ion can go reach there. Same way, same kind of problem arises with the graphite anode, and it is called sodium intercalations. So that is one of the major challenge, increasing the potential, increasing the power density of those batteries. And then definitely the solution can be found with the hard carbon, but it has a lower specific capacity and the energy density increases. And another aspects, once this uh, reaction started, generally what happened, the size of this electrolyte get increased, and sometime what happens, due to that, there might be the mechanical challenge, that's volume will increase. And there is another problem which is called, it is ACE. So that is also a problem, and that is the electrolytic series. If you can recall that we have studied that we have a electrochemical series. In electrochemical series, zinc, etc., how it will perform. For this reason, the steel is been protected by zinc. I hope that you people still recall. So, electrochemical series sodium is also unstable, and we require to stabilize by some electrolytic interface. So that is also a challenge, and poor reversibility, because once we want that, the storage device for this is charging and discharging required to be done, and for this reasons, the process required to be reversible. As I talked, in our first podcast, that every reversible process requires the extra energy. I have given the example of the water tumbler. So same thing is applicable here. Charging and discharging, that is the reversible process, having a poor efficiency, and it reduces the life cycles, and irreversible losses is quite more. So that is also the challenge we are looking for to address soon. These are the challenges. So researchers are working for a long time on it, and they found few solutions also, and may not be that will be highly technical, and thus I am not actually skipping this discussion. Right, one aspect definitely that cathode challenge, we talked about the anode challenge. The cathode challenge is definitely, compared to the lithium, energy density is low, which I have talked about it. Then structural instability, then the phase transitions and the degradation in overcycling. If it is used for the longer time, then it will decay and it may not be recycled anymore. And thereafter, moisture sensitivity. And as we know that, the copper salt is not hygroscopic, it is called the calcium chloride, but it may be that due to the impurity, it can be hygroscopic. So it may absorb the water from the moisture. And for this is in the pressure, special care required to be taken for that, to address the moisture sensitivity. And slow kinetic, as the kinetics means that once it is produces more number of ions, there is a chemical thermodynamics. So then energy density also will be more. And since the sodium ion is diffuses slowly because of its ionic compositions, and so rate of the kinetic dynamics is lesser than the lithium ion. And there are some general challenge in general. So material compatibility, like that, difficult to find the stable and compatible materials which can be made the electrode. And then cyclic feasibility. Then what happened, it's if you it is a degradation, right? So after 200 cycle, what is the retentive capacity of that battery? It has been found that it is fading faster than the lithium ion battery. And then electrolyte optimization, that is also a challenge. So need for the sodium ion, sodium Na plus specific electrodes. And thereafter, that industry, we want to use a commercial one. Already one China company has already commercialized this. Then scalability and the cost. So these are the challenges. So efficient productions of the high performance electrode, and which can be used for the batteries definitely, which can be used for the electric vehicle. It still is a challenge, big challenge. So these are, we can sum it up, and thus we require to adopt our research on the noble electrodes. Then that may be the alloy based carbon compositors, like I told you that hard carbon can solve the problem of intercalation. But that problem lies, we require to research on it, which carbon allotropy will be more suitable. Then the cathode stabilization, then doping, that surface coating, etc. These are the something that we require to, the researchers are working on it. And the electrochemical series, that is also important, and to form the stability of the ion, so that, and the electrolytic development has been a challenging task, because we require to develop a particular capacity. So it is not that you do it for the proof of concept. In industry, doesn't happen. So tailored electrolyte with the sodium ion battery is still is a challenge. So in that way, we can say that uh, to make those things into the perspectives, we require a decade, around 10 years, so that it can reach the commercial viability. Of course, many people are researching on it. We expect that the sooner results also. Over to you, sir. This is something that I can talk about. This the challenges of the sodium ion batteries.
So what in a layman's term, sir, it seems like the major is the material concept. I mean to say, like, which material to be used in the cathode or anode to prevent the decay, or to have a proper electrolytic effect. Means when you are charging, in a layman's term, maybe when we are charging, we are producing, these ions are actually absorbing this electric energy, storing it, and then when are discharging it, means it is again reversing that process. So the cycle that we are talking of, charging, discharge, charge and discharging, so the amount of cycle that it can withhold in terms of its chemical property is much lesser than what we have at the lithium ion stage. So that means the life of the battery is maybe a bit smaller,
Less,
compared to
and
less.
that is right.
Right. So as we know, like in a, for if you go to buy a mobile, we would say, like, they might say the battery has a cycle life of, let's say, 1 million, or let's say to some extent, that is the charge cycle that you can do. So once the battery is fully discharged, it is convenient, and it is actually recommended that you then charge. Don't charge it in between, because you would be losing on the number of cycles that the battery life has. So that is number one. I mean, the concept, and also the deposition that is happening of the sodium ions on the electrodes, which are the two positive and negative sides of the battery. That is also a challenge, and we require certain materials, maybe composites or any other alloys, to fast track and to have that effect what we are getting in other efficient batteries. So in a term, the current status that we have is the efficiency level in terms of charging as well as discharging, the life cycle. Overall thing, if you take as an efficiency, it is lesser than what we have from lithium ion. But as we discussed in our previous episode, the advantage lies in the cost element, because sodium is abundantly available, and it can withstand temperatures. So that is the advantages that we have. So if we want to move to the next, once we discuss about challenges, so what advantages it brings, in terms of the abundant availability of sodium, that is the lucrative part, I believe. So if you can
Right.
just shed some light on that.
These are the technical, highly technical challenges. So, in a nutshell, I can tell you that we require a better electrodes. And there, with that, that research is going towards it, and make the process reversible. So, while reversible, you make the dynamics very fast, and maybe actually the people are researching on the what kind of the catalyst can be given so that this can be controlled, and all those issues are being taken shape, and there are few patents and discoveries also, uh, because till now in casual term, these are the challenge, and people are working on it, but people from the chemistry background are working on it to improve those. And of course, now come to the advantage part. And uh, since it is abundant in natures and it is not someone's monopoly, and please understand that maybe we'll discuss about the rare earth sometime. Lithium alone doesn't comes in the lithium material. It also require the rare earth material. And might be knowing that there is a politics with the rare earth material. China has decided to stop supplying rare earth material. So not only lithium, the geopolitics has been played with the rare earth elements. So considering those dual, and in that way, the sodium ion batteries are are having much attentions in that terms. So you know, because sodium ions first issue is that abundance. It is the sixth most found element on the earth. So long term viability and the sodium productions is not at all a challenge. That's what I told. That sodium is the sixth abundant element on the earth and widely available in the sea water and the mineral deposits. Unlike lithium, sodium resources are globally distributed. It is not that a particular place lithium is available, and thus it reduces the supply risk and the border resource access, etc. So, for these reasons, it is not someone's monopoly that this material is available here. For this reason, we can use it like silicon. For this reason, we got a semiconductor boom. Same way, it is going to happen after we solve this problem we have mentioned earlier. Now, sodium extraction is also cheaper and it is less resource expensive than the lithium. Lower raw material, thus it reduces the raw materials. And I told you still it is a challenge, but hopefully it can be worked out. That's up. But I hope that by 5 6 years this challenge will not be there. And so thus, since due to its abundance, sodium can ensure sustainable supply. So, like I was listening few days ago the hard talk with our oil ministers, petroleum ministers. They were saying that how India can secure that energy security. So while energy security, sodium can play an important role, and since it is naturally available, and so less environmental degradation compared to the lithium, and it also aligns with the global sustainability goal, so that we leave a better world for our future. And apart from that, sodium is widely available in multiple regions. It enables local production and capabilities. It need not require to source for some way. It enhances the energy security and reduces the supply chain disruption, because there is a China decided not to supply the rare earth material, uh, and they expect that everyone will come to their knees. So this is not going to happen anymore. And plentiful supply also helps to avoid price vitality. That is also important for if it is a strategic inverter, and more predictable production cost over the time. So you know that what come, and advantages of the energy storage and electric mobility for medium power density level. So in a nutshell, if I summarize, our discussions, sodium and the lithium. So in respect of abundance, sodium actually goes highly abundant, whereas the lithium is limited at the region Pacific. Extraction cost for the sodium is low, while lithium is high. Geopolitical risks of the sodium is low, lithium is high. Sustainability for the sodium is high, and lithium is moderate to low. Supply chain resilience is strong, whereas lithium is fragile. So these are the nutshell of our discussion of the uh, sodium abundance, and thus it makes it quite popular and forces the researcher to research on it and come out with the better solutions.
So,
Over to you.
sir, uh, what I understand as a layman, if you talk about this technology and materials, so there are a lot of challenges in terms like what we just discussed. Challenges in terms of cathode material, anode material, the technology that is going into the functioning of electrolyte, the basic principle of containing charges, stabilizing the charges, and then the process of discharge, the cycle that is happening. So everything has its own challenges. But if you are able to see the bigger picture, when we come to, let's say, what we talk about the energy security concept, in which we try to always be secured in terms of the supply chain, like we are now dependent on fossil fuels. Slowly we have moved, trying to move that to renewable energy. And basically, if you want to popularize or have a self reliance on renewable energy, the battery part has to be very important. And wherein, as because today, as we speak, lithium ion batteries are the most popular batteries because of the advantages, size, constraint, etc., etc. But lithium is not very abundantly available. There is a supply chain constraint that comes into with rare earth minerals that is tagged with it. So that brings to our concept in which we need to look more into this new sort of sodium, technology, which will be like sodium ion batteries. So, in order to facilitate that sort of a transition, we need to focus our research, our understanding more onto the materials and the technology. So, as a result, though research is happening, but to bring it to the commercial stage, in which we talk about the mass production, in which we reap the benefits of the abundant availability and natural synchronization of sodium, in terms of degradation or recycling of those materials, which is far more environment friendly than the lithium ion. We need to focus more on this technology and the material that we are discussing today. So currently, sir, just to sum up, if you can just give us short sort of a understanding as to where do we stand, where India stands in terms of this research of
Uh,
this materials and cathode anode that we were talking of regarding sodium ion.
okay, we are not a laggard, frankly speaking. And Reliance also started a company on the sodium ion based on the sodium ion batteries. You can Google it. And even our electric, even I know it because few of my colleagues works on it. They have filed good number of patents, and we have schools on the Energy Study Center. Their primary focus is on sodium ion batteries in IIT Roorkee.
Right. Okay.
So, and from them actually, I come to know a few aspects that they are working on the advanced cathode materials. So they are working on the sodium nitrate or nitrite, some kind of elements, some kind of compound that improves that sodium ions diffusion and the structural stability. Then they are also considering polyionic compounds like niacin phosphates, so for their thermal stability and the high voltage stability and the normal cycles, and focusing on the optimization of the crystal check structures to give the high performance, and then high capacity anode material, which I talked about. So hard carbon anode or disordered carbon enhances the sodium storage. They are also considering it. We means actually IIT Roorkee, not myself. So they are also researching on the alloy time and anodes like antimony, bismuth, phosphorus, etc. for the
Hmm.
higher capabilities. But to phase out the volume expansion, which I have mentioned that why reaction starts, that volume of the electrolytes as well the electrode increases.
Hmm.
So that put pressures, and research is on the same thing on the moisture, so that how can reduce the moisture content in it, research on the nanostructures and the composite uh, degradation process, so that it can it can increase the number of cycles. Then we have people I know that working on the electrolytic innovations. So they are considering to add additives to the stabilize uh, this specific electric induction layers, and the ionic liquid electrolytes. They are also considering to enhance the stability of the voltage safety. It is little uh, technical anyway. So, and the solid state electrolytes also the focus on niacin type and for the better conductivity and safety. Then the structural engineering, which I have talked about in our first discussions. So nanostructuring electrodes, so shortens ion diffusion path. So and it enhances the durability, and surface coating is something that we talked about the polarization effect in the gene acid batteries. No, same
Hmm.
thing. So we require to give oxidizer. Here we require to give an coating, surface coating to protect the electrode from the site reactions, and that improve the conductivity and the life cycles. And then doping and the defect engineering, that is also a challenge. So doping cathode or anode, it enhances the electronic and the ionic conductivity. So we can actually put, please recall that semiconductor doping you might be knowing. Same way we can dope the impurity. But that doping has to be done in parts per million, okay, in ppm,
Okay. ppms, yes.
right?
Right.
And that has also been reported that it enhances the electronic and the ionic conductivity.
Same like the technology that we currently use in some raw form in painting, also car painting, which are more to do with the coating of that material, giving that ultra finish. So the parts per million that we were talking of, it is breaking down those things into the minutest details as a layman, if you want to understand.
Parts per
uh,
million, let's say counting millions in India.
right.
Okay,
So it
millions
is
names, sorry.
it is just to understand, if you have a percentage calculation, you break up into, if you have the base as 100, you make the base as million. That's it. So how many parts you're having in 1 million is what we are talking of, that ppms.
Right.
So we
So
we are actually minutic, going into more details into that doping part, how much of it is there. So, in a way, what I as a layman understand is the more minutest you go, you actually save more on the materials being used. So the efficiency level increases. You do not increase weight of the ultimate structure, and you get what you require in a solid form. It is structurally stable, and it can take up all the characteristics that a charging facility requires in terms of. And as because in the last episode we also discussed, the major disadvantage being the time taken for sodium ion batteries to charge themselves, which is the again part in which the material science, research, I think, must be taking place, and they are going to increase that because we require faster charging batteries, which will be at par with lithium, so that we have the same sort of efficiency. So when we talk about efficiency, we talk about all the aspects. Though it's
right.
a aspect of charging, discharging, the cycle life, the stability of the electrolyte system, the stability, temperatures, stability. It should not overheat itself. There should not be any fire incidents, etc., etc. Then there should be, it should be environment friendly. So everything has to be put into the basket, and everywhere wherever there is a fault or wherever there is a disadvantage, we require a research and we need to improve on those parts. So I think that is, we can sum up on that aspect as to how the innovation on technology and materials is taking place for sodium ion. So
May I add, sir?
yes.
Okay, first of all, you are not a layman. You are a very well-educated person.
No, 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 sir.
Uh, so thereafter, may I sum up the innovation area and the key goals? If a tabular form, I'll show it to the uh, viewers, then they will understand it better. So that we require from our discussion, we understand that we require the advanced electrodes. So why you require advanced electrode? For the higher voltage, power density, and improvement in the life cycle, cycles of the life. So how many charging and discharging cycle you can do. So that aspect will come from the electrode. And then that is advanced electrode. And then noble electrode, that what you talk about, that higher capacity, that is energy density and the structural stability. Okay, so it can sustain more heat, etc. And the process has to be reversible, etc. And then comes to the electrolytic engineering. Electrolytic engineering, definitely that the sub that is the soluble one. It can be sodium nitrate, etc. And stable SE and the safety and the longevity, it should not actually deteriorate with time if you are not use it, etc., etc. Then monostructuring, that is also required, that electrode. So that increases the durability and the short diffusion path, because there might be a local cells, etc., which you have studied. We have to go back to our school levels. Maybe actually we have taught about the zinc acid batteries. So same thing here. And the doping defect engineering and the better conductivity and stability that we require, and full set optimizations, minimize the capacity loss, and then Windia innovation, the structural integrity, and the longer life. These are the few areas that research is actually are directed in the sodium ion batteries.
Right, sir. So I think we have come to the time limit that we have for today's episode. It was very interesting to note the concepts of the materials and the challenges that are there. What are innovations happening? Where does India stand? And it is very heartening to know that we are not laggards, at least in this field right now. We are doing a lot of research. We would be, I think, as you said, maybe in a decade or so, we would see the abundant availability of sodium ion batteries in every field of renewable energy. And maybe, being very optimistic, in a commercial term, we might say after 10 years or a decade, we might ask the question like, आपके बैटरी में नमक है ना, तो चलेगा. So maybe we would be going into that sort of universe, or sort of
Right.
ecosystem in which we might be asking this question. So, and I hope that our common salt does not lose its value, and brings down the energy security that we are looking forward. So, sir, thank you so much. In the next episode, we would be taking this again forward, maybe in a series in which we would be looking more
It
more
will
in.
be the concluding series, I think, no? Next
Right,
one.
right. It would be the
So
concluding
we'll
one.
conclude the series, and
Uh,
we'll discuss in detail the companies working on it, how they are
right.
working on it, and
We can take you can discuss a small case study in which the viewers will be able to understand where are we right now in terms of physical aspects of these technologies. So, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time, and I wish that we would be meeting very soon, and then we will going to conclude this series. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, sir.